for our own benefits. I mean, these days it is more like the pros and cons. I mean, it shouldn't be, but what can we do? So we'll be talking about this and many other things. You're welcome again. My name is Samuel. I'm a dietitian and a nutritionist, and I'm very, very glad to have you here. This is actually my first live this year. This is my first webinar this year, and I mean, I'm super excited that you are connected, you are joining, because I mean, for two reasons. One, because it is one that I'm hosting on YouTube for the first time, and then the second reason is because I'm able to share with you, from my little many years of experience and research and studies, and you can bet that it's going to be an amazing session. All right, you can bet it's going to be an amazing session. So again, try to remind your friends and family. You can share this link to them, even though they didn't register. Just share this link to them and show them some love. All right, as we begin. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Thank you very much for joining. And we are starting about now. Okay, about now we are going to be starting. Sister Sarah Josiah, thank you very much for joining. We appreciate. Thank you very much. Just drop a location. Let us know where you're connecting from. Let's know where you're connecting from, and then we can actually move from there. Let's know where you're connecting from. Thank you very much. All right, so this is a welcome address. So we can say, but amazingly, it is something that I do not take for granted that you are here. I mean, amazingly, because I believe that what you're going to be getting from here alone. I was telling a friend yesterday that it is enough for a lifetime. Yeah, I know, right? That may sound so big, but trust me, it is so enough for a lifetime, because you're going to be getting a lot more here. And I trust that you actually have a good time. All right. So very quickly, let us move. Very quickly, let us move, because we don't have time. I want to give you the best of the best at the fastest pace and at the realest time. That is what is a live session. Okay, it is not recorded. It's not something I need to, but it's something that I'm giving you right from my heart and my mind to you. All right. So we are going in now. So basically, let's quickly look at what food is. Food has been generally addressed by so many people to be so many things. Do you understand? So they think, oh, food is this, food is that, and whatnot. But importantly, we would be talking about food in some key notes. Okay. So I have actually put together this definition because I want you to have a comprehensive understanding of what food is. So we would not just see food as something that we grab on the go. Of course, it could be grabbed on the go, but we shouldn't just see it as anything that just satisfies us, or that just satisfies our cravings and longings, and then we move. No, not like that. Okay, it's for purpose. It is for a reason. It is for it's for a purpose. So let us look at what this food basically is. So I wrote here that food is any nourishing substance. Not the word substance. Okay, that is eaten, or it is drunk, or it is otherwise taken into the body, to sustain life. Basically, that is one of the reasons: to sustain life, to provide energy, and to promote growth. All right. Now, note the keywords there. It's the substance. All right. Then the second thing is that it is either eaten or drunk or taken into the body through some IV form, or directly into the GI system or into the bloodstreams. Basically, that's for therapeutic reasons anyways. And the reason or the purpose of food is to give you energy, right? Is to provide or promote growth, right? And also to sustain life. So if anything you're eating in your mouth or into your body is not giving you these three, then you are missing it. You are missing the definition of food. You are missing the concept of food. Or if whatever you're eating is having more of one than the other of this benefit, of these reasons, then you are also not having a balanced ideology of me, of what food is, or what your plate should be like. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the point here is, if your food is not giving you energy. Of course, many of the food we have today, they are excessively supplying energy, like we know, in an amazing, amounts. You can receive so much energy, but most of them are not sustaining life. Do you understand? Most of them are not sustaining life, and most of them are not promoting growth. We'll look into those other two aspects in the course of this webinar. All right. Don't forget, it is actually a place where we're talking about how to eat to live. Do you understand? So for you to live, you need to grow. Your life needs to be sustained. Do you understand? You need to know how to go about your everyday activities with the energy that food provides. Do you understand? But energy is not the only thing that gives growth. So we need to have a balanced mentality and ideology about food. So we'll be talking about that excessively or comprehensively today, right? And I just want you to stay very close to me. Stay very close to me. Don't leave me. Like, stay very close, okay? And I'm sure that you're going to have a very, very great experience, all right? So don't forget, food is either eaten, it is drunk, and it could be taken into the body through some other means, all right, to provide you energy, to provide you growth, to promote your growth, and to give life or sustain life. Do you understand? And don't forget, it is any substance, okay, a nourishing substance. That is why they call something substance abuse, okay? The nicotine that people take in form of cigarettes, in form of shisha and all, and then even the caffeine that people have in coffees also, they are substances that actually nourishes, okay? But when it is being abused, then it derails from the part of being food. All right. So very quickly, we're looking into so many other things. So the other thing I have here is that whatever supplies nourishment is food. Okay. Now it is left to us to actually know how this nourishment is supplied or in what amounts this nourishment are being supplied. Okay. So very quickly, let us move on. Now the other thing is, whatever thing you eat does one or two things. All right. Whatever thing you eat does one or two things. Okay. It either fights for you or it fights against you. Okay. It either fights for you or it fights against you. The point is, you cannot, and I say again, you cannot enforce, for example, a military group to fight for you and then they turn against you. It doesn't work. Do you understand? But you can always trust that a militant group that you empower, when they see no need or no reason for you again, they can stand up against you to fight you down. All right? Whatever thing you eat either fights for you or fights against you. Now, I love to define, or I love to call food, or to explain food in two forms, okay, or to give should I say, some nicknames or some background concept of food in two forms, in the sense that food is information and then food is a command. So what I'm trying to say is the information you serve to your body with food is what your body processes and gives back to you as your health, in quotes, or gives back to you as the outcome, what you see on your body, what you see in the blood test you go to, in the blood test you go to take in the hospital, in the vital signs you take, and every other thing. So that actually shows, or that reveals the amount or the kind of information you have been feeding your body with over time. Okay, I get what I'm saying. So if you have not been feeding your body with the right information over time, you eventually would have ill health. You eventually would have number ranges that are in the extreme, or that are, out of the recommended ranges. Take blood sugar, for example, or take hypertension, for example. A person who is not nourishing well, who is not feeding well, or who is doing it wrong, okay, would eventually have a very high blood pressure or a very high blood glucose, which is also called diabetes. Do you understand? So you need to understand that whatever thing you eat will either fight for you or fight against you. So you need to give conscious, you know, conscious consciousness, right, to what you eat. Right? To be very much conscious of what you're eating, what you're putting into your mouth. Remember, it is a substance, and it should do one of three things. It should promote growth, it should sustain life, it should provide energy. So it shouldn't do one of the three, it should do all three at the same time. All right. So the information you're serving to your body is promote growth in my body, sustain life, provide energy. So the moment your food is not serving all of these three purposes, then I can say that it is wrong. All right? Good. So let us move on very quickly. Now, I just want to know a number of things, that in the world today, because or due to the very rapid, shall I say, evolution of you know of the world. We are moving so fast, and everything is going so fast, and everything is, it's more like a very rapid movement, like a ground train test. Everything is going on a very fast lane these days, and then many people are also evolving with time. We are evolving with the how do I call it now, with life, or with the world. All right, with the world, let's put it that way. Now in the world today, there's a high number of malnutrition, okay, compared to some, even 5 years ago, as at today. Okay, I was gonna say like 2 decades ago or 3 decades ago, because statistics still show that even as at 3 decades ago, many people were still having a higher life expectancy rate, or the number of life expectancy of people in the world was still about 75 and I think 80 as an average. But now the average life expectancy number or age of anyone in the world generally is now about 70. I mean, if you now bring it down to Nigeria, we have people, not even we have people, the average life expectancy for Nigerians right now is 65. It is crazy. Do you understand? I mean, Nigerians, and it is of concern to me. That is why I actually had to, to really know what we've been doing wrong, and how we could actually correct so many things that we've been doing wrong. And as a matter of fact, you being a Nigerian, or you not being a Nigerian, or being black skinned, or being, black generally, would actually predispose you to certain things like prostate cancer, things like diabetes, like hypertension. These three diseases, or non-communicable diseases, has a higher what's it called? People who are blacks, rather, they are much more prone to having these three diseases: hypertension, diabetes, and prostate cancers. Breast cancers also. Do you understand? But the point is, how can this thing be, should I say, be averted? How can you keep yourself from, falling into these statistics and being a part of the numbers? Do you understand? Okay, look at this again. We have the 41 million, okay, 41 million people, all right, of the 55 million, right, 55 million global deaths, okay, that happened in 2019 alone were due to non-communicable diseases. And that includes diabetes, that includes obesity, that includes hypertension, that includes arthritis, heart diseases, stroke, cancers. So if 41 million of people died from these things, and these things could be corrected, this is could be avoided. Are you seeing what that is? That means a lot of people are still suffering from what we think is not an epidemic, or it is not a pandemic, so to say. Because if we need to go by the statistics provided by WHO, it is alarming to see that about 90% of people died of non-communicable disease, heart disease, kidney diseases, cancers, high cholesterol, of course, that actually eventually led to hypertension and obesity and so many other lifestyle diseases like this, which are basically non-communicable. And the point is, they could be avoided. They could be, we could easily stay out of them. We could easily prevent them from coming to be. Do you understand? And it is just so crazy that people are still trooping into the hospitals in their numbers to get diagnosed of this same non-communicable diseases, and the statistics keep, keep increasing or keep maintaining. Do you understand? So these deaths, like I said, could be avoided, or these people that actually died could have been could have been living if they really did some other things differently. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, the other thing I was going to say, now, the other point I have there is this. Now, these deaths, okay, it's crazy. It is crazy. It is crazy. Like, even me talking about the statistics alone makes me know that there's a lot of things that people don't know that still go ahead to kill them. And the difference between you knowing and you acting on them, or sorry, you knowing and you living, is you acting on whatever thing you have known or you have learned. Thank God for this webinar that's coming, and I'm glad, and I know that I'm sure by the end of this session, you would also be having different knowledge. All right, so let us go. Now, I said that this death, okay, occurred between the age of 70, okay, or sorry, occurred before they were 70. All right, especially in the middle and low income countries. So we have countries like Nigeria, like many African countries actually fell into this list. Of course, Asian countries also are in this category. You do understand? And many of them actually contracted this disease before they became 70 years old. So that means they were not living elderly even before they died at whatever age they died. And that also means that they started rearing up this disease at a very younger age, let's say 40, let's say 50, let's say 60. And then they were able to manage it up until they were 70 or they were 60 before they died. Do you understand? So this is, I don't know if I should call it alarming or if I should call it, or this should be a state of emergency, sort of. Do you understand? All right. So 80% also of this premature heart disease, stroke, and diabetes could be prevented. Like I said earlier, many of those things are supposed to have a way around it. Like, you should be able to prevent these things from coming to pass, from coming to play, from happening. Do you understand? And the point is just that many people still don't know that we could actually stay clear of all of these diseases, because we feel that, oh, it's something that happens once you're 40. You should begin to prepare for diabetes, should begin to prepare for hypertension, begin to prepare for heart disease, heart attack, and all of those things. No, we shouldn't. Do you understand? We shouldn't. As a matter of fact, I'm here to tell you that you should not prepare for those things or for those diseases whenever and wherever. Okay? I have come to understand that many things could change only by you doing some simple things. All right? I'll be talking about those things in the course of the session. Do you understand? Okay, let's move on. Let's move on very quickly. Let's move on. Okay. Now, I have something that if only half of the world ate right, okay, there will be a very low number of kills in the hospital. There will be a very low number of deaths, and life expectancy will be increased. That is just the truth. Trust me, because there is no way you would eat right and go wrong. A friend of mine would say that you cannot keep doing the same thing. Of course, we know many of these quotes and then expect a different result, right? And the truth of the matter is, there is no way you continue doing what is right and not eventually be successful at it. And I mean successful, I mean be positively successful at it, because it is what is right. So if you're looking at growing older, I mean, if Jesus tarries, okay. So if you're looking at growing older, if you're looking at increasing your life expectancy and that of your children and that of your generation, you need to begin to do simple lifestyle changes that would actually transform your health even from now. All right. I tell a lot of people that you have to ensure that you start taking care of your body now. All right, the time to start is now. The time to start is now, because there is no way, no way, absolutely no way you tell me that, oh, because I don't have a disease, or because I'm not sick now, then I shouldn't watch out for my health. You know, let me bust your bubbles. Many of the so-called diseases that's that many people go into the hospital to present with these days are started decades ago, like in their teens, in their early teenage years. They started building up this risk, these high risk factors for those diseases, say diabetes, say even cancers. I'll talk about that later in this session also, and I just trust I remember to talk about that very much more. All right. So many things that we actually, do today, that we actually learned, were something that's grew up with us, with most of us. Okay, many things that we do today, our eating pattern, uh, even our lifestyle, okay, began from our upbringing, began from how we grew. Okay, so in this case, many people have we have a traditional mindset as regards, okay, this is what we're going to do, or this is how we do things in our home, this is how we do things in our family, this is how we do things on Sundays and on weekends. We have this, there's this tradition that we do as a family. Myself, for example, in our home every morning on Sunday mornings, let me say, we have yam and eggs, scrambled eggs with boiled yam, and then you can see the oil floating all around. Do you understand? So it was something it was a practice that I was so used to. Okay, and let's say on Saturdays we would have bean cake. In Nigeria they call it moi moi, or is it no bean pudding? I don't know what they call it in English. Anyway, moi moi. Do you understand? So we have that, and then it was something that was usual for us. So the point is, in the real sense, the cooking and the eating practices are the things that have been passed down from generations to generations. So, because these things, these cooking practices, and this lifestyle, and these actions or activities are being passed down from generation to generation, then also the diseases that come with them are also being passed down. All right? Are you getting? Are you understanding what I'm saying right now? If you're following, just drop something in the comment. Let me see. Let me see if you're following. Just give me a fire emoji or something. Let me just see. Yes. Hi. All right. Thank you very much. So, if you understand this thing, that it is the cooking practices, it is the eating practices, it is the tradition that our parents gave our, that grandparents give our parents, and then over to us, that we've been doing. Actually, it's more like a vicious cycle. Okay, so because of the things they did, they had a level, or they were exposed to some sort of diseases that actually, should I say, that actually held them bound. Okay, and for us to break free from this, thank you very much, Deborah. So for us to break free from this bondage, or for us to be free from this disease that has been passed down, this disease trend, okay, for us to break free from them, we need to also change our cooking and eating practices. Don't forget, it starts from where, or from what we eat. So if the food you're eating is not supplying nutrients, is not promoting growth, is not sustaining life or providing energy, then you are wrong with the concept of food. Okay, I'm sure you're beginning to think of what you've been eating, and how it's been, or how it is matching these three purposes of food. All right, just begin to think about that. Okay, I would talk much more about that also as we go on. But the point is, what I want to let you know is, they say that diseases, transfers from generation to generation. They'll tell you that your parents had this disease, so the children, they are prone to it. They're at risk of having diabetes or of cancer because their parents had it, or because their uncle had it, or because their granddad had it, their grandmother had it. So they also are prone to it as a child, or as a son, or as an offspring in that family. That's what we call family predisposition. All right. But the point is, you can break free. So it is more like, think of it as a gun. Okay, you have the gun and you have the bullet in the gun. All right, the bullet will not come out of the gun, or the bullet will not be fired. Okay, if the trigger is not pulled. All right, now look at it this way: your lifestyle, your eating practices are the triggers. Okay, or is the trigger rather. All right, so the moment you go wrong in your eating practice or in your lifestyle, you eventually will pull the trigger off the same diseases that our parents or that our fathers actually partook of. And so it will also be evident and be seen in us as well. All right. Whoa, thank you very much. Someone is texting from Mexico. Thank you very much, Mr. John. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, thank you so much. Do you know that? So the lifestyle and the cooking practice and the eating practice are eventually the trigger that pulls these diseases out and then make them very much evident, and then they make these diseases so um, make them again bind us, and then a person is down with this disease, a person is down with that disease. But in the real sense, you can actually keep the trigger there. You can even keep the bullet there. No doubt, no doubt. We had we have this genetic predisposition. Okay, our parents gave birth to us. These genes are inbuilt. Okay, and we could be prone to those diseases for real. But with your lifestyle practice, with a healthy lifestyle practice, and with your right eating pattern, you can just leave the bullet. If a doctor friend tell me that just let the disease die in you and not let the disease kill you. Do you understand? Like, so like you're gonna be dying with the disease, not dying from the disease. So if, for example, if my dad died of diabetes, all right, I'm not expecting myself to also die from diabetes, because I know that even if the genetic predisposition is there for me, it will only die with me. If I don't even wish to pass it on to my children, because of my lifestyle practice, because of my lifestyle activities, my healthy lifestyle practices, and my eating ability, eating patterns. So I have this consciousness, and that is what I want you to also begin to see from here. Okay, so in the real sense, cooking and eating practices are what has been passed down from generations to generations. Okay, a friend would tell me that in their homes in the morning they would have ham, or they'll have sausages, and then the mom would fry the pork, and then of course pork is very oily, and then after frying she takes it out, then the oil is kept, preserved. Again, the following morning she'll begin make another fried oil with some bread and maybe an apple and all of those things. Of course, the father actually died of heart attack, and of course that has been the practice in the home. But when they were able to see the lights of what they've been doing wrong, okay, things have changed so far. The mother is happier, the young men are feeling better and healthier. And the amazing thing is, you can easily know when you are doing good. You can easily know when you are doing well. You can know. All right. So when you look at your staple foods, what are these things that you've been eating that has actually caused, all of this many troubles? Aside the fact that we have this rice daily, we have bacon, we have chicken, and all of those things. I'm sure you can relate to all of this on the screen. You can relate to them very clearly. Oh, donuts, like a drive-through. Okay, you grab one and go. So all of those things are staples. Do you understand? And interestingly, the food production companies, okay, or let me say the food industry, okay, let me not say production company, the food industry has helped us, okay, should I say helped us, has helped us to move from an era of enjoying whole foods to an era of having everything in the processed forms. Now they tell you it is easier, they tell you it is sweeter, they tell you it is easily digestible, they tell you many other things, just to get your attention and to buy their product and enrich them. Oh, I have no beef. Okay. But the thing is, even science that used to believe that the early men, whatever, evolution, they used to believe that they were meat eaters. Now again, they began to say that they were plant eaters. Anyway, that is left to them. But I'm bringing to you some evidence-based study, some evidence-based information. I mean, when I mean evidence-based, I'm not talking of lab rats or pigs. No, I'm talking of real humans, researches and studies that have been going on for decades. Okay, and publications that have been coming out and giving us real information in real time with real people tested or observed for real diseases. Okay, so we've been able to understand that a lot of things that we used to have as food that made people live longer, that made people healthier, has been changed. In other words, the whole form of the food has been removed, and now we have excessively processed foods that do nothing to our body. It doesn't sustain health or sustain life, it doesn't promote growth, it only supplies energy. And don't forget when I said that the purpose of food should meet those three. Now we say that it's now one-sided, which is really wrong. You get the point. So in all of these things, the moment we all transported or moved to the area of having everything in the processed forms, we began to miss it. And you understand what I'm saying? So we began to miss it at that point. Okay, we began to miss it at that point. And interestingly, all of those things that we now left behind and those old foods began to cause us, you know, to manage a disease. And then because you are not able to sustain life, you're not able to promote growth, then we are sickly, then we are down, then we are struggling with health. Okay, do you understand? So in that regard, we all began to struggle for life, struggle for health. Okay, and that actually moved our state of wellness from, let's say, a 90 to 30 or 20, which is really, really wrong, and which has been what has given rise to the to the increased rates of non-communicable diseases. And then you have people going down with cancers, you have people going down with diabetes, with obesity, and the likes. All right. So yeah, you can actually I would actually give room for questions later, okay, so that we will not actually miss anything. I would give room for questions later. If someone is asking, you could ask questions, or at the end, I'm going to give room for questions. So just stay with me. All right, stay with me. So when you look at this thing, you see that we've been wrong so far. All right. Now I was gonna I was gonna ask you to do a very quick task. Okay. I just would want maybe one or two people to quickly mention for me or to me 5 protein sources. Just 5 protein sources. Anyone, just drop it in the comments. Let me just read quickly in 30 seconds. No, 60 seconds. Let's see how many people would have some good answers. Drop 5 protein sources of food that you know. Just 5. Let me know. Protein sources. Now it's time for you to recall your primary school. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Okay, yeah, oats, eggs, yeah, fish, yeah, meats. Okay. Okay. All right. Oh, beans at last. All right. Okay, thank you very much. That was a very quick one. I mean, I just want to pause at the moment. Okay. Now you would see that before Mr. Oyetola Oyeleye mentioned beans, we have had to mention beef, we've had to mention eggs, we've had to mention fish, we've had to mention maybe milk, and then Someone is mentioning legumes. Okay, that's a very broad category. Now, do you realize something? I want to say something here. Do you realize that before you were able to remember that beans also is a part of protein source or is a protein source, you know, you had mentioned meat, you had mentioned fish. Now, let me tell you what has been happening to us, you and I, right from we were, in the kindergarten, in the elementary schools. Now, the things we studied in school as to, I mean, by the way, you're correct. Okay, you're correct. Absolutely correct. All of those foods are rich in proteins. All right, you're correct. Okay, but the thing is, the sources of proteins are really beyond meats and fish and eggs. I mean, there are more sources of proteins than meats or than animal foods as a group. Okay. Now, what has happened to you and I is that over the years, when we were schooling, the only picture that our teachers painted to us, of course, sponsored by the big food industries, is the fact that meat is highly rich in proteins. Okay, or animal foods, or yeah, animal foods generally are highly rich protein foods. Okay, no doubt they are rich in proteins, but nevertheless, the factors to rate or to weigh the sustainability of life is not only in the I think I'm really going to I'm diving deeper. Okay, the sustainability of life is not only in the amount or in the amount of nutrient that a particular food can give you, but if it is not um I'm trying to use simple terms, okay, but if it is not uh diverse, or if it is not giving you a compound essence, like we saw in the definition of food, that if it is not giving you life, sustaining life, if it is not promoting growth, if it's not supplying energy, then it is not a food. Now, when you look at meat, when you look at fish, they have limited amount of calories, of course, and they are really high in proteins. But the things that go down when you have those meats also should be considered, in the sense that when you eat your meat or your animal foods, you are more at risk of increased risk of non-communicable disease. All animal foods inclusive, I tell you, from the beef to the eggs to the milk to the cheese. All right. When you look at beef, for example, or any animal food, for example, aside being high in cholesterol or saturated fats, or high in phosphates, that would eventually go into your that would eventually go into your system and cause um, an artery toxin, that would actually, inhibit the free flow of blood, of course, cause buildup of cholesterol along the arteries, eventually leading to hypertension. It will increase acid levels in your kidney and would cause kidney damage, kidney stones, would actually increase hyperfiltration in the kidneys, and very quickly it would cause or lead to a damaged kidney. Okay, just saying that randomly. But the point is, you ate that beef thinking that beef was the only thing, or was the protein source on your plate of rice. Okay, meanwhile, the things that comes after you've eaten it is much more harmful than the so-called protein benefits you thought you were going to get from that. Now, how do we get to this point or to this stage? This has been due to a Greek egg or village egg, which of the two? Okay, I'll talk about that later. All right. Now, this has been due to the fact that the big food industries, they have done so much mindset game, or they have played or toyed with our minds so much that we are now seeing them as the ultimate savior to proteins or for proteins. But what goes on, what goes down in their farm, in their animal farms are bizarre stuffs. I'm not vegan, okay? I'm not vegan. Don't begin to think I'm vegan. I'm not vegan. But I'm talking about evidence-based findings as regards the consumption of animal foods. A person who eats as little as 50 grams, that is about a maybe a tennis size of meat, you know, is 50 or 60%, okay, more at risk of developing cancer than a person who does not eat at all. So imagine how many grams of meat we have eaten today alone. Not even to talk of this week, not even to talk of this month or all our years. I get what I'm saying. Now the point is, the things that we thought was right was only enriching some people and was at the cost of our own health and life. That is why you can see that huge number in the statistics I gave at the beginning. 41 million people that died in 2019 died from non-communicable diseases, which included heart disease, which included stroke, which included sorry, just a minute, which included obesity. Whoa. Okay. Oh, sorry, just a moment. Some people are having some difficulties joining us. Okay. So the point is, many people would actually face different challenges because they are, how do I put it? Because they have given themselves over to excessively consume meat. All right. Just a moment, please. I just need to do something very quickly. Okay. So someone was asking if between a Greek and don't worry, I'll answer that at the end of the session. I just want to um, I just want to finish the session very quickly and then I will address every question after. Okay, I'll address every question I will address. Okay, so moving on very quickly. Now look at this table or look at this graph. Okay, I I'm presenting this graph just to try to explain something to you. That's the increased rate of disease is directly related or it is proportional to the kind of food or to the choices of food that we all make. All right. Now, we the moment we have or we refuse to take to proper cognizance or we refuse to take to proper consciousness the things we put in our mouth, we will eventually be on the highway to developing non-communicable diseases also. And it is so amazing or so great or so bad, that with a little amount or number of animal foods you consume or processed foods you eat, you are raising the bar of your risk of contracting a non-communicable disease. That is just what it is. Okay, that is just what it is. I'm so sorry. Some people are having issues connecting, and just trying to see. But I hope they are able to. Oh, sure. Just a moment, please. Okay, yeah. So look at the graph. You will see that it is very explanatory. The more we eat, or the more we eat processed foods, or the more we eat, animal foods, the higher our chances or the higher our risk rather of contracting or of being down with this. I'm sorry, I'm kind of distracted, but I'm here now. Okay, all right, okay, all right. So the more processed food, now that includes every form of processed foods. Now, like I said earlier, I'm not preaching veganism, neither am I preaching, any other thing. But what I'm telling you, what I'm trying to pass across to you is the point, is the fact that you need to ensure that for you to eat to live, okay, for you to eat to live, the first thing you should know is that you need to have your food in the most whole form. Do you understand? You see that I have made a progression in that graph. Okay, the risk of communicable disease would increase as the processed form or level of your food increases. So, for example, if you are eating whole yam, like the regular Nigerian yam, you are still, much more safe than a person who is breaking the yam, okay, and maybe making, which, okay, yeah, I think yam is not a good illustration right here. Let's use corn. Okay, let's use corn. Okay, when you have your whole corn, sweet corn, regular corn in the cob, right? You have your whole corn, and you are still um, in the range of having it all, in the sense that the only processing method or processing process that went into that corn before you eat it is cooking or boiling or roasting. Do you understand? Or stewing it, something like that, right? Or even having it boiled in the salad and all of those things. So it's still in the whole form. That means it has less than 20% of processing. But when you look at custard, for example, or cornflakes, okay, it has been highly processed. I mean, the kernels are out, the the husk is out. So many other key nutrients or key substances they are out. The fiber is gone. So all we are left with is the simple starch contents that would easily be absorbed in the body faster, and before you know it, you are hungry in the next moment. Okay. Now, when you look at it that way, you will see that many many people are in that category. Always we are having fast foods. Always we are having pizzas. Always we are having, mention, you already know, right? The ice creams, the chocolates, in that sense, they are only, those foods are only fulfilling one part of the purpose of food, which is to only provide energy. When you look at Costa, for example, you look at chocolates, for example, you look at candies, for example, you look at pizzas, for example, they have less nutrients compared to the number or to the amount of calories they contain. So when you weigh them side by side, you see that it doesn't meet all three purposes of what food should be. So it is not sustaining life as it should. Instead, it is putting you at risk of a lifestyle disease. It is building up your CV of contracting or of a lifestyle disease. You know what I'm saying? So in this essence, you see that the food choice we make and the habits, our attitude towards these things, a person that eats fast food always, French fries, chickens, and fried fish, fried everything, you are usually, oh you they are usually more at risk of having some lifestyle diseases than any other. Okay. Oh, so sorry. Okay. All right. So that is that. So yeah, that is that about that. Now look at it. 800 million people. I mean, I had to leave this on a single slide. 800 million humans, if not more than, are currently living with diabetes. Okay, and when I think about how this came to be, of course, studying about, I mean, looking into researches, looking into, papers and write-ups that have been done, I see that a bulk or you know, a high number of these diseases, of this diabetes, sorry, of these people that are diabetic actually come from the lifestyle choices and the eating patterns. Many of them are sedentary. They barely move around. They barely, they go to the office, the 9 to 5 job, and then they sit at the desk. And then when it's 5 o'clock, you look at the time, and then they're off. They sit in the cars, ride home, get to the house, sit on the couch or in the couch, and then they have some bags of potato chips, relax, Netflix and chill. You get it? So, this has been the lifestyle. They barely had a consistent habit or attitude towards, moving around and towards having healthy foods. You get the point? So it has caused a lot of problems to come on many. Okay, it has caused a lot of problems to come. Okay, yeah. All right. Was I saying something? She just dropped something that the rate of heart disease in UAE is high, and then the country is doing something about it. So they know these things. They know these things. They know these things. So as a matter of fact, we all need to understand that the things we eat, our approach towards life, our activities, our lifestyle, okay, are the things that basically constitutes our health. You get what I'm saying? So if you are not on the path of eating healthy and staying active almost all day, then there's going to be trouble for such a person, because they also will be included in that statistics of those that would have a life expectancy of less than 60 years old. I mean, and it is so bad that they wouldn't just live all day up until they're 60. No, they would live maybe fine or normal some age, and then they begin to struggle and battle with these non-communicable diseases, which is very, very, very sad. And the truth of the matter is, with little lifestyle changes and dietary modifications, you can stay free from them. Like I was saying earlier, you can stay free from them. All right. So let's move on. Now, having experienced this high number of diabetes, many people now, likes of diabetes, obesity, likes of name it. Now they now try to look out for, okay, what do we do? Okay, now they go out for crash diets. Now they go out for so many other things just to ensure that they get back to normal, and then they falsify the claims of healthy eating. That's what I can say. Every kind of diet that is not in the regular diet, that is not following those three purposes of food, is falsifying the claims of food, is falsifying the claims of diet, and is falsifying everything that has to do with healthy eating. Crash diets, alkaline diet, grapefruit diet, juice diet, water diets, military diet, name it. The people would begin to do this crash or this, extremely draining exercises, in the form of food, because they want to be healthy, ignoring or forgetting that it doesn't come in a jiffy, it doesn't come in a flash. It's something that you build up. It's like you train a dog from being a puppy, and then it grows, and then it grows, and then it grows. He understands a snap, he understands a word, So that's actually how our health is. So it is something that you begin to train from now. Okay? You begin to train from now. You wouldn't rely on, okay, don't worry, I'll follow a keto diet when I want to lose weight. Let me eat all I can eat for now. Let me eat everything now. I'm going to follow a keto diet. I'm going to follow a carb diet. I'm going to follow a military diet. No, you shouldn't build your mentality on all of this. I eat everything I want to eat, and yet I am not afraid of any other thing, because I know that I am doing it right. And I want you to also know that you can eat anything you want to eat and do it right. But you need to understand that there are some barriers in the path of healthy eating. There are some rails, some barricades in the path of healthy eating that would restrict you from going out of the way. I tell people I'm a dietitian and I can tell you that I will tell you some things that you should not eat. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. Do you understand? As long as it is going to be for your benefit, I would want to let you know that these things are for your good. Even if I tell you not to eat something, don't don't um don't whine over it. Do you understand? We should not falsify the essence of food because we have initially uh, we have initially gone astray, and then because we want to get back in shape, we want to get back in shape. You want to reduce your blood pressure, you want to reduce your blood sugar level, you want to reduce your weight, you want to do something, and then you begin to follow some some methods or some diets that would in turn even cause more havoc. Few years ago there was this revelation, should I say revelation, or this release, these statements from the Atkins. There's this Atkins diets. I don't know if many of you have known about it. You know that this man was propagating that people should eat more fats and less carbohydrates and less proteins. That would actually help you to to lose weight. That was the Atkins diet, and of course the man died. He slumped and died, and then but after autopsies was performed on him, and then they realized that he actually died of heart attack, of clogged arteries. So he was eating high. I mean, I could just imagine the number of people that was diligently following this man's diet regimen of eating excessively high fat seafoods, and then they were having little carbohydrate and little proteins. It was so obvious that the food is not balanced. One, obvious that it's not sustaining life, obvious that it's not promoting growth, because one of the key nutrients that promotes growth is proteins. So they cut proteins, they cut carbohydrates, they're supposed to give energy, and then they are feeding on fats. Okay, now when your body primarily uses glucose for energy, all right, now you're providing fats. Now the glucose level or the carbohydrate level in your food will be less, and hence glucose level will be low in such a person. But because the body is highly, mechanized and highly, it is high tech. Let me put it that way. It would actually go ahead to use part of the fat to convert to energy and then begin to burn fat, which is not its primary energy source. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, at that point, a high level of ketone bodies will be released, high level of free radicals will be released. Such a person will be more prone to more prone to having cancer, more prone to be having heart diseases, clogged arteries, and name it, damaged kidneys. And it's so sad that the kidney damage would actually shut down the entire body, just like the heart would do, because the kidney is responsible for cleansing the blood and ensuring a balance in the homeostasis level, and ensuring a balance in the electrolyte level. So if the balancing of the homeostasis and what's it called? If the balancing of homeostasis is not going well, the body will shut down. If the electrolytes in the body is not balanced, the body is prone to shut down. Then kidney stones will form, and so many of that things. So it's like a chain of reaction. So the moment we actually forget or let go of the real things that we should do, and we're looking for shortcuts, we would eventually injure ourselves even the more. All right, we'll injure ourselves even the more. Let's go. Now, in as much as any of these diets might have worked, the point is they were never sustainable for man. Okay, they were never sustainable for man. Okay, in as much as these diets must have worked, they were never sustainable for man. Okay, so the thing is, if if peradventure anyone had used one of these diets, this crash diet, fat diet, nutri diet, Atkins diet, and then the point was to lose weight, and then they lost weight, it was ideal that they went back to eating normally. And eating normally would mean eating your whole foods because you would not have a balanced nutrition and lifestyle. So many people have actually gone astray and it has caused a lot of havoc. So the point is, you want to fast, now the intermittent fasting is also has been trending for decades now. And of course, fast is good. I mean, it helps you to also regulate your body, burn fat, whatever thing you want to do. But you cannot live on it because it's never sustainable. The keto diet is never sustainable. Most of them are being down, with hypoglycemia. They're being down with, increased blood cholesterol levels, heart diseases, and the likes. So nothing is sustainable if it is not the real form of food. No shortcut to diet would work or would sustain life, which is one of the essence of your food. Okay. Now, another thing you should understand is expensive does not mean healthy. Okay. I had to include this because I know many people will be like, oh, eating healthy is expensive, this and that. But expensive does not mean healthy. As a matter of fact, people who actually go into who are vegans and then they also go ahead to eat vegan junks are still more prone to obesity and diabetes and even cancers because they're having more processed foods in form of that, their processed foods and all of those things. So what we should look at is ensuring that even the locally produced, the locally sourced foods, right, are just what you need, are what we all need. Do you understand? They are what we all need, regardless of where we are or who we are. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's actually one thing I would have loved to to pass across to you, that you should understand that because it's expensive doesn't mean that it's healthy, and because it's not expensive doesn't mean that it is not healthy. All right, and because it's healthy doesn't make it necessarily mean that you must make it expensive. Okay, now the things that it takes to live healthily. All right, there are a few things I'm going to mention here. What it takes to live healthily, and the first thing, like I mentioned, there is knowledge. Okay, now you need to know. You need to be in the know. You need to understand how the food works. You need to understand. I mean, even if you don't understand how the food works, like a professional, okay, but you need to know that this is what I should be eating and what I should not be eating. Then, when you have reached that level of knowledge, then you will begin to take action steps. Okay, how do I go about it? It could mean going to your kitchen right now or after this webinar and then get into your shelf or your cupboard and clear off or even your fridge and clear off every of your junks, of your sweet foods, everything, and you try to, make away with them, just clear them off and then replace them with fresh fruits, fresh foods, things that would sustain life, would promote growth. Do you understand? So it could mean you just going to your fridge and getting rid of, every animal produce or product that is there, because you understand now that it is one of the things that has caused, you to be more at risk of lifestyle diseases and non-communicable diseases. Then the next thing you need to do is to dedicate yourself to it. All right, dedicate yourself to it and ensure that you follow it diligently. It doesn't matter who is with you on that journey or not. You just need to ensure that you dedicate yourself to it. All right. The truth of the matter is, it doesn't happen once. It doesn't happen twice. It's not what you eat once that would, make you go from a 0 to 100. No, it is not what you actually eat twice, or in a week, or in a month. But it will change definitely. It will give you a result. Trust me. In fact, I can bet on that. That only a week or 2 weeks or 1 month of practicing a healthy eating, which composes of whole plant foods, no animal foods, would transform or would increase or improve your health, in fact, so significantly that you'll be able to see, from how you've been before and how you are now. Even your blood test will tell you big differences. All right. Then the next thing to do is to take consistent. Okay, after you've dedicated yourself to it, come rain, come sun, I'm going whole plant foods. I'm eating my food in their whole forms. I'm ensuring that my food is sustaining life, is improving my health, is promoting my health and providing energy. Now I am consistent in doing it. Or I'm consistent in doing it. I do it every day. Come sun, come rain. Is it a holiday? Is it a party? I mean, that doesn't mean you would not, mingle with friends. That doesn't mean you would know you would not flow. You will, but you're just now much conscious of what you put in your mouth. That is it. So the next point is accountability. All right, have someone you're accountable to. You talk to them about something, and then they are able to support you. It could be your family, it could be your friends, it could be your, housemates, anyone that you're staying with that you can always be accountable to. It could be your dietitian, right? I mean, so many people who are on my in my team. I mean, the people I work with, they are actually having uh, they are actually having a group where we actually tell them, or they actually come around to, we look at the week's goal, we go out for it, and then at the end of everything we are able to always assess how far we have come and how well we are doing. So that is one thing that you can always do to be accountable, is something that I would also encourage you to be. All right, so these are the 5 steps, or these are the 5 things you need to do to, to live healthily. You get what I'm saying? 5 things you need to do to live healthily. Just a moment. Okay. Now, there is a multi-million-dollar question that I keep having. Okay, and I'm sure many of you must have been having those things in your mind right now. And the question is in my head. Okay, but I'm sure you can read through and then you can tell me already what it is. You can already assume what question it is already. But the question is this. Then they ask me that, dietitian, what should I eat? What is the one thing I should eat? Uh, uh, what is this one thing I should eat for the health? What is this one thing I should eat to do this, to do that? Bro, fam, I really want to tell you that this is the one thing you can eat. Okay. But as a matter of fact, based on being true, based on being, honest with everyone, there is no one food that you should eat to get health, or to get healthy rather. But there is one group of foods, James, and there's one source of foods that you all should enjoy eating any day, anytime, and that is the whole plant foods. James, so I wish I could really tell you, okay, eat this, and then when you put them together, you are healthy. You get, but the point is, it doesn't work like that. The thing is, you have to have a variety. Like, variety is like the color of life, they say, right? It is the color of life. So you need to enjoy all of the foods. You need to go hard on your corn, go on your, cassava, your gari, your yams, your fruits and vegetables in their varieties, your corn, your wheat flours, your wheat itself, oats, amazing foods. So these are things that you can always eat to support life for yourself. All right, moving on very quickly. Now, like I was saying, no diet fits all. Okay, but one eating pattern that everyone should follow is the whole plant food, the whole food plant-based eating pattern. I don't like to call it a diet because it is not a diet. All right, plant, the whole food plant-based is not a diet. It is something that we all should live by. I mean, it should be our lifestyle, because I mean, looking at me myself personally, being a believer, being a Christian, okay, the good God, the Almighty, has decreed from the beginning. He has given us herbs, plants as food. Of course, when man fell, things changed. Okay, everything changed. From that point on, everything changed. Even the animals that were herbivores, they began to grow, teeth that, began to devour themselves, and then everything changed basically. So the thing that still resonates best with humans up until today is having whole plant foods. Do you understand? So that is what it is. Now, the other thing I want to let you know now, what are these whole plant foods, and um, how do they really come about? Now, all plant foods are foods that have little or no processing. I mean, from the word, it is whole, like it is complete, it is full. Do you understand? So, because it has more of the nutrients preserved and kept in it, so it is still whole. All right. So why should you have them? Because your body resonates more to them, or you resonate more with them rather. Your body's resonance with all plant foods is like 5 and 6. You know, the way your body processes animal proteins is way different than the way your body processes plant proteins. Now, to burst your bubbles, in few seconds or few minutes or few hours of eating, even fish, tuna, for example, your blood pressure goes up or skyrockets. All right, your kidneys hyperfiltration level increases because it's trying to balance out, you know, the how do I put it? It tries to balance out, the pressure that is causing the body to process that animal protein. But the same quantity of food in the plant form would cause a reduced or a very normal processing time and processing pressure for the kidneys. So, in other words, the way our body processes all of these foods differ, especially when it comes to animal and plant foods. All right, your body resonates more easily, is more friendly with plants than with animals. And with animal foods, where we have so many of this, many health complications and troubles, that actually lands us to having diseases that would eventually, cause ripple effect and then keep affecting another and then another and then another. All right, why not all plant foods? Because there is no excuse not to. Everyone has access to whole plant foods, and everyone should be having whole plant food. Everyone should be a plant eater. Everyone should enjoy their foods. Everyone should try to avoid or keep away processed foods from their plates and animal foods from their plates, because your body resonates more with plants, and that is where your health is. For you to eat to live, you need to ensure that your food is fulfilling those three things: providing energy, promoting health, sustaining life. And these three things are only found in whole foods. All right, moving on. So, like I said, whole foods, it's whole, not tampered with, no changes made on them. Then plants, of course, we know what plants are, the herbs and all, and that is what they are. Okay. Now, food for health. The key to halting the progression of non-communicable diseases might be in the produce market and not in the pharmacy. All right. Over and again, I keep telling you that they are cashing out on our head. You know, the food industries will provide us with highly processed foods, leading with so many junks and so many preservatives that would injure our bodies, and then they will move us to the hospital or to the medical section, where those ones will also cash out with the drugs that they give us. Oh, take this statin, take this drug to calm your nerves, take these drugs to help you relieve your blood pressure, take this drug to help you reduce your cholesterol formation, take this drug to improve your heart disease. They just keep cashing out on us when we can help ourselves by removing those highly processed and animal foods from our tables. Do you understand? And feasting on all plant foods for health. So the key to really halting the disease is not even in the pharmacy, it's not even in the medication or in the new discoveries of anything, of any medical win or medical whatever, but it is in the things we eat. Don't forget, it starts from what we eat. Until today, it continues in that regard, and we need to understand that that's what we need to give so much priorities to. All right. Now look at these things. I gave two things here. We have in two forms. You are either popping pills or you are either following a healthy lifestyle and eating practice. Okay. Now, most of the non-communicable disease can be corrected fact, many of them can be prevented and reversed even when you are having that disease, or when you are at risk of that disease, or when you are already diagnosed with that disease. Regardless of the time, regardless of the moment. I've seen people who have been living with diabetes for decades, and only in 6 to 8 months of switching to a whole plant-based diet, their diabetes was reversed. They began to have a regular blood sugar count. Do you understand? Their blood pressure dropped and went back to normal ranges. So it doesn't matter where you are, how old you are, when you're starting to eat elderly. It All that matters is your dedication to begin and your commitment to it. Now, two things like I said, what would actually happen? It's either you want to pop pills or you want to follow a healthy lifestyle and eating practice. Okay. Now, I actually made this case so you can actually see. I don't know if it's clear enough for you to see. So you can actually see how it is. It goes from one to the other. I was trying to tell you how they keep transferring us to one another just to cash out on our head. You pop pills, without you staying active or eating elderly, all right, your symptoms seems to be relieved. And then the next thing, there's an overload and stress on your kidneys because your kidneys would have to remove those toxins in the medications to excrete them and then make it fine, and then the liver also. And then you are stressed, your internal organs are stressed. Again, there's a risk of damage to those organs. Okay, and again, you go back to the hospital to complain about those other symptoms, and then they'll give you more pills. So imagine how we keep building on lies, how we keep building on what will keep on damaging our health. Do you understand? So there's more stress and trouble to the body's health and to your loved ones as well. And eventually the person shuts down. It is crazy. I mean, I cannot even imagine so much. That on the other hand, look at it, the other side. Sorry. On the other hand, now look at it. There is just a few things. Just a few things. Now, you have yourself in that lane, and then the next thing is you're able to eat, and then you see that all your vital signs are normal. Your blood pressure is normal. Your blood count is regular, and then it's balanced. You're having a very adequate blood pressure. You're having a very good blood sugar level. Everything is there, and then there's little or no risk of non-communicable diseases. And then yourself and every other person around you, you're happy. There is so much, good and excitement in you doing what is right. And like one of my teachers would say, it is never too late to do the right thing. All right, and there is never a right time to do the wrong thing. So that means if we do the wrong thing all these years of our lives, it has always been the wrong time doing the wrong thing, when we could actually do the right things even at the wrong time. But there is no wrong time for the right thing. Do you understand? So if you choose to begin to have healthy eating now, and to change your eating pattern now, it is still the best time. And it is so great if you are still in your 20s, 30s, because the way you would become when you're 50 is dependent on what you do to yourself now. It's dependent on how you live now. It's dependent on how you eat now. Do you understand? So the core of the gist is that you need to switch or embrace a whole food eating, a whole plant food eating. Many people would say, "Oh, it is boring and this and that and this and that." But I mean, excuse me, is it as boring as living about half of my years or half of my life in an hospital bed? It is not. I mean, look at, and not like plant foods are boring anyways. They are not. They are not boring. Okay, your beans are not boring. You can style it whatever way you want to style it. Your rice is not boring. Just ensure that you actually enjoy all of these foods in the best forms possible. With increased vegetables and fruits that would help you to improve the immune system, fight free radicals that would actually even, reduce cancer formations. I was actually going through an article, and then they were saying that the so-called early detection of breast cancer with mammograms is actually a late detection, in the sense that the tumors that are being formed now, when there is a cell that has been mutated by free radical to form a cancer cell, the mammogram would not identify it or detect it up until that cell reproduces and multiplies itself to form billions of itself, and then the mammogram will identify or detect it, and that's what you call early detection. Do you understand? So imagine the number of time it will have taken for that singular cell that has been mutated to multiply and divide itself to form billions. That's going to be about maybe 30, 30 days or 30 months, like this. But 30 times the cell can divide itself to form, a billion, form a billion cell. Because those kind of cells, they don't follow the regular cellular division pattern. They divide exponentially. So it's like you're going from 1 times 2, 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 3 times 3, like that. So it goes like that. So it doesn't follow the 1, 2, 3 kind of pattern. So the early detection thing that we were talking about in the cancer industry is not even early detection in the real sense. In fact, they were able to highlight that some people began to have this cancer cells in their 20s, in their adolescent ages, just because of the food we eat, because of our exposure to food that provided or that produced more free radicals in our bodies, and those cells got mutated. So you need to just understand that the time to start is now. Now is time to start. For as many of us that are here, I just want to. I don't know if you learned a thing or two, but I want to give an opportunity for as many of us, to look into something that I actually call a bumper offer, okay? And that is this, a super bumper. Now, it is actually my own thing for my own people and, of course, for every other person. But I want you to